So I'm here with Becky from New Leaf, and who's going to talk a little bit about mental health in the construction industry and about a conference that's coming up soon. Did you want to introduce yourself, Becky, and what you do?
Yeah, so I'm the founder of New Leaf. It's a counselling, coaching, mental health training company just based here in Bridgwater, up above Wilkie, May and Tutwood.
So what is it that you're doing in Bridgwater with this mental health construction conference?
Well, I felt moved really. I think all of us in life have a moment where we feel moved to do something, and when I heard the figures about mental health in construction and the fact that every day 2 construction workers take their own life, I personally couldn't sleep well on that. And I thought, if I can do something, if I can make a difference, if I can intervene, if I can help people feel confident to intervene in situations and raise awareness of mental health, then I would really love to do that. And that's taken me on quite a journey, to be honest, which has come together putting on the Mental Health in Construction Conference. So it's about changing culture within the industry. And, you know, we have a lot of construction companies. In fact, I think in the UK, I think it's 330,000 construction companies in the UK, of which 90% have no human resource department. You know, they're small companies, and these perhaps are going to miss out on some of the mental health awareness that the larger companies are doing. So my hope is that this conference will, you know, raise awareness of the issue. It will help people think, gosh, Bridgwater, you know, what can we do in Bridgwater to
Why
help
Bridgwater though?
Well, it's kind of a bit of my hometown really as well. So it's really lovely to put it on here and to celebrate it here. You know, and we have a lot of construction happening in Bridgwater. So it feels like the right place for this to be held. And also, this town has been quite a rebellious town over the years. And I quite like the idea that we're talking about changing culture. That's going to take a certain level of energy to do that. And it's going to take a little bit of forcefulness to say, it's got to change. Culture's got to change. We've got to change the way in which we do contracts. We've got to mention mental health when we put in tenders. You know, it needs to be considered. You know, we can't mitigate against mental health. Mental health is important. And also we need to be more aware of it. We can't just treat people like objects within construction. These people have got families. We can't hire and fire people just when we want and expect it to not impact their mental health. So I think if we're going to change culture, we need energy to do that and positivity. And this conference will bring all of that together.
Why is construction such a risk of mental health?
My understanding is it's something to do with the pressure that construction industry personnel are under. It's to do with the fact that a lot of the work is very short term, it's unreliable quite a lot, so you don't really know where your next job's coming from. It can be very lonely, people working away from home as well. And also, you have a lot of places of height within construction sites. So if you wanted to take your own life, it is a place which is vulnerable to that because a lot of people are working at height. So I think it's a real mixture. It's also people in the finishing trades are the most at risk. So people, roofers, the tilers, the people in the finishing trades. And often they're under the most pressure, is my sense, that because they have to finish the job on time, you know. But also these are individuals who not only are they under pressure, they're often living away from home. So you have that loneliness, the isolation of being away from home, you know. And I think you can give someone a nice bit of accommodation, but if we don't feel connected to community, if we don't feel that we somehow can connect with the people around us, then it's like living in a hotel room. That's what it's going to feel like. And lots of things happen when you're in that kind of space. You've got a lot of time to yourself.
So would you say that there probably isn't enough or as much support in the construction industry with construction companies as there should be?
Yeah, and I think also it's a very male-dominated industry, and I think women find it much easier to talk about their emotional self, whereas men don't. So you've got a compounded problem. So if we can if we can start the conversation, if we can get people to start talking openly about mental health, and if we can treat it like, think about drink driving now. You wouldn't drink and drive. It's not an acceptable thing. But is mental health in construction acceptable, that we kind of allow that culture to continue, or do we want to do something about it? And I think this conference is aimed at, let's change some of that culture, let's have a conversation, let's make people aware of what the support services are in this community in Bridgwater, and how, if they are working, they can tap into that wider support that's available. And we're going to talk about some of the great construction industry charities, the Lighthouse Club, places like that. We're going to raise money for them as part of the conference. So I feel that it's going to meet things on many different levels.
Yeah. So I think this probably comes at a time where currently we talk a lot about mental health, or mental health support, the lack of mental health support, especially for me around young people. A lot of young people talk about lack of mental health support. So is this part of that bigger picture, actually, not just about construction, but mental health support in general in the wider community, where there isn't enough of it, or maybe not enough signposting, or just actually there just isn't enough mental health support, full stop?
I think we have a big problem on our hands, and it upsets me when I hear young people called the kind of snowflake generation, or they're not resilient enough, we've got to make them stronger. I think what we have is young people who are incredibly empathic, more empathic than we can imagine. I think this young generation that we have talk more about mental health than I certainly ever did in my generation and my schooling. And I think we see that almost as a vulnerability as adults. We don't celebrate the fact that young people are talking about it, they're supporting each other in ways that perhaps we never did, and they're able to communicate on many different levels and through many different mediums. Now, with that awareness and with that emotional ability to talk about your mental health, that comes at a price, and the price is that you don't know what the filters are. Everything goes in. You don't have those barriers that we've learned to build up, which stop us talking about it, because it's not the thing to do. So I think we have a real opportunity here to kind of celebrate our young people and ask them what services they feel they need. Because we kind of assume that everybody wants to go to a counsellor. I mean, we run a counselling business. You kind of think, oh yeah, but that's kind of not always right. Sometimes people need to feel connected. They need to feel part of community, something that you do very well, which is kind of bring community together and feel a sense of belonging. When we feel we belong, we feel less isolated and less vulnerable. So I think we have to look at mental health in a different way, not queue up for a service.
Okay.
That's my feeling.
Your conference then, when is the mental health construction conference?
Okay. Book your ticket. 16th of May. It starts around 9:30 in the morning till 1 o'clock, so it's only half a day. And I want all the construction industry in Somerset to attend. We've got a venue that will hold, I think up to about 200 people, the canal side in Bridgwater. And I really want to encourage you to come and support the movement, because this is about you. It's not about me, not about you. It's about you. And we really want you to come along and listen to some amazing speakers talk about mental health in construction and all the things that they can do to make a difference, because we want people who attend to be part of that movement. So yeah, I shall look forward to seeing you.
So one last question just before we head off. What is, I've heard about it before, but what is mental health first aid?
Okay, so mental health first aid, have you heard of physical first aid?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's happening in the government is they're trying to create a parity, so an equal playing field between mental health and physical health. So they want to say that all health is mental health, whereas at the moment we talk about the two separately. So mental health first aid is the idea that in every workplace we would have a first aider who would be able to spot the signs of mental health, who would be able to say, do you know what, we need to do something, support this person in some way. So they would notice the signs, recognise the symptoms, and they would attend to that person. So they would meet, assess, support, and think about what services that person could access. And they would feel confident about having a difficult conversation, because most of us don't, and we shy away from it. So it's about giving someone the confidence to know the right thing to say, because most people fear they're going to make someone worse. And the more mental health first aiders we can have, the better. So part of what we do at New Leaf is we train up mental health first aiders within the workplace, but also interested individuals who maybe aren't in a workplace but are sole traders who think, actually, I want to know about this for my own well-being.
Yeah.
So it's a very positive 2-day course, and it accredits you for 3 years with Mental Health First Aid England. So it's a good thing to have on your CV as well, because you can take it with you wherever you go.
But that sounds like, to me, like a shake-up of how businesses work and what goes on in businesses. And that's not something that would probably happen overnight, is it? It's something that would take quite a long time to implement. And I suppose it would also need support from central government to lead the way.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, you're going to have quite a weight behind it to make it something that people value. Otherwise, it'll just be, oh, I don't want to deal with mental health. Call the mental health first aider in. It's about also their role is to raise awareness. So those individuals that do the course, I want to feel motivated and empowered to go out and do something within their workplace, have the conversation, try and raise awareness of mental health, and think about, what support services do we need, and where are the gaps in that we could try and look at. So, for example, we do pop-up wellbeing clinics for businesses. People can come, we run a little clinic, they can come for 30 minutes. That's not an hour of counselling, that's 30 minutes intervention as and when people need it. And I think there are different ways we could look at introducing this into businesses.
So if businesses want to contact you, I can put a link on the description above, and they can get in contact with you that way.
Yeah, we can either run an in-house one, or we're running them in the community. So in Bridgwater, about every month or every other month, we're putting on a 2-day course which people can book on, and you can get a discount if you're a Sedgemoor-based business. So you can get £50 off the price of it.
Oh, cool.
So it's very good.
Well, I think that kind of rounds up our discussion today. Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you very much.
All the best with all that you're doing. Good luck with the conference.
Thank you.
And then hopefully you'll have lots of people watching, wanting to come along and be part of it as well.
I hope so, yeah. Please come along. It'd be lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.